It is easy to want to earn more in order to be financially stable. While this is one way, it is not the only way. What is standing between us and money sometimes are certain habits that are unknowingly sabotaging our efforts to stay afloat. Everything is not about our village people. Leave them alone. Sometimes we are our own village person. Today, I will be sharing with you those uncommon habits that you should be mindful of. And the first one is buying on sales. It is that time of the year. And I'm sure you've started hearing summer sales, 70% off, 50% off, 30% off, and you cannot look away. I agree, it is sometimes very tempting. Marketers and advertisers over time have perfected tactics to convince us to part with our money to purchase things, sometimes the things we need, sometimes those things we don't need. They would even give us very tight timelines and they will tell us it's only valid for 2 days or for 1 day. And this doesn't let us think before making the decision to buy. We rush to spend our money. Sometimes we even borrow and we find out that in a very short time, it all ends up in trash or we just clutter the entire house, especially because we didn't need some of these things in the first place. Before your money leaves your account this summer, be sure that you genuinely need the item or you have been planning to buy the item. You have to avoid impulse purchases. Don't be tempted. You have to also research prices. I don't trust all these discounts. You have to research the prices, compare the prices, think twice, think thrice before parting with your money. The second one is that you do not need what your neighbor has. You do not need what your Instagram influencer has. I think we should repeat that 3 times. I do not need what my neighbor has. I do not need what my Instagram influencer has. I don't even know if I have Instagram influencer. Okay, let's continue. I read that sometimes people who keep up with the Joneses never find that financial stability in life. It's almost like they are in this roller coaster and never quite reach a steady point in life. This constant pursuit of matching or surpassing someone else's lifestyle leads to a circle of spending, unintended spending, sometimes leads to debt, sometimes it basically just robs us of that financial peace that we look for. And this relentless comparison, of course, thanks to social media, can result in us making financial decisions that are driven only by external appearances rather than what we personally need or what our values are. If we continue to keep up with the Joneses, we will not be able to build our savings. We will not be able to manage our debts. We will not be able to plan for the future. We will just continuously, perpetually chase this elusive sense of security and contentment. We should be mindful of this. The third one is neglecting an emergency fund. I always say life is so unpredictable and unexpected expenses can arise at any time. Whether it is medical emergency, whether it is something as small as car repair or job loss, having an emergency fund can provide a financial cushion and prevent us from going into debt. I always advise that we should try to save at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in a separate account that is easily accessible. It doesn't matter, you can start small, but you have to gradually increase your savings over time. It is important we have this emergency savings. And I also advise that you automate transfers to this account so you're not tempted not to not put in the savings. So automating this can ensure, consistent contributions to this savings account. Point number 3. This is for those of us who have access to credit cards. Credit cards can be convenient. It can offer even rewards, but relying too heavily on them can lead to significant debt. High interest rates on unpaid balances can accumulate very quickly, and this makes it very challenging for you to pay your debt. The ease that comes with swiping your card for purchases can sometimes mask the real impact of your finances. It gives you that false sense of financial security. It is essential, it is important, it is crucial that we use credit cards wisely. Pay off balances in full each month to avoid that accumulated interest charges, and you have to also prevent your debt from spiraling out of your control. It is very easy to fall into this situation. And I know sometimes people will say, oh, credit cards would help you improve your credit score. This is not entirely true. It is when you use them responsibly and within what you can pay that they actually benefit your credit score. Simply just having a credit card does not automatically improve your score. You have to use it responsibly. You have to pay your bills on time. And I always advise that you keep your credit utilization really low, ideally below 30% of your credit limit. So for example, you have 1,000 rand, stay within 300 pounds, for example. And I always advise against opening too many credit accounts all at once. Sometimes I hear people with 2, 3, what for? By managing your credit cards wisely, you can build a strong credit history, which in turn helps to improve your credit score. If you don't use it responsibly, on the other hand, it can lead to high balances, missed payments, and ultimately a damaged credit score. And then the last point is being penny wise, pound foolish. That phrase has stuck with me since the first time I heard of it many years ago. It means a financial behavior where we focus on saving small amount of money in a situation or a transaction only to make larger, costlier mistakes. Let me give you some examples. You do not do a regular maintenance on your car because you want to save some money, only for it to then need a major repair, which is far more expensive than the sum of the regular maintenances that you could have had. And this is not even talking about the disappointment this would come with, as you wouldn't be prepared for this major repair. I'll give you another example. Buying cheap and inferior products like electronics, shoes, can lead to frequent replacements. Rather than buying a quality one, which would last you for a long time, you're hanging on to saving from, buying cheap and inferior products. That's a classic example of penny wise, pound foolish. One that sometimes gets to me is skipping regular medical checkups or delaying necessary medical care just because you don't want to spend that money, which then leads to a more serious health issue and, of course, higher medical expenses in the long run. We have to be careful of all this immediate savings. Immediate savings can be really tempting, but it is important to always consider the bigger picture of things. So, tell me, which of these are you guilty of? I used to be guilty of number one. I may just be minding my own business, and then I would see sales, and someone will pull over. My old self will pull over, and I would buy. But I've come to realize that most times, I don't need most of the things I buy on sales. And I think also because they put a timeline to it, I also do not have enough time to think through it. So for example, I'm buying a jacket that I know, it's probably not what I need. And then I'll figure out later that I am struggling to find the right pants to pair with it. And then it would stay in my wardrobe, leaving that not paying rent. Or sometimes I buy a shoe that feels, at the point where I am buying it, feels slightly tight, but I'm saying, no, it's not that bad. When I wear it for the first time or the second time, it would feel comfortable. And I end up not wearing it at all because the pain is greater than the discount and then the stays. If you are not guilty of any of this, congratulations, you're doing well. If you are guilty of one or many, I would say consciously work on this, because avoiding these mistakes, these common financial mistakes, can help you achieve greater financial stability and, of course, peace of mind, which we all want. If this episode has been a value add, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes from me. Thank you.